Top of the morning, top of the day, top of the evening to everyone. Today we're going to clarify information and take a closer look at the Kenneka Jenkins case, November 2017. Let's go. Let's get started. We're going to separate fact from fiction today. So in our table of contents, we're going to discuss when you hear data mentioned, I am referring to raw data. What is metadata? The correct way to collect and maintain digital/forensic evidence. Can law enforcement enhance, change, alter, or modify data? Is it okay for law enforcement to use Photoshop? Yes, if they have been trained. Is it okay for law enforcement to use outdated versions of Photoshop? No, absolutely not. Let's take a closer look. When you hear data mentioned, I'm referring to raw data. When you hear me say data, I am indeed referring to the raw data. This means I'm talking about variables, constants, values, bits, binary numbers, hex values, protocols, and the like. So, when I say data, from this point on, you know what I'm referring to. What is metadata? Metadata can be defined as data about data or information about information. It's data that is usually not seen. It is embedded. It's data that is not usually seen or is embedded. An example is the size of a file. The size of a file is metadata. Way to collect and maintain digital/forensic evidence. I want to start by saying that no form of law enforcement or trained professionals, when it comes to digital and forensic evidence, nor you can just do what you want to do in terms of this. There are groups that govern the way digital evidence should be collected. The Scientific Working Group on Digital Evidence and the International Organization on Computer Evidence. They set the standards for recovering, preserving, and examining digital evidence. You have to adhere to the protocols that they have set. The important thing that is needed when collecting digital or forensic evidence are the warrants. Without a warrant, you will forfeit the entire case. Period. End of story. End of the story. Do not believe the myths that warrants are not needed. Yes, they are. See the Fourth Amendment. Can law enforcement enhance, change, alter, or modify data? Trained and certified law enforcement may enhance photos. However, law enforcement cannot alter or modify data that would compromise the integrity of the data. That would be considered evidence tampering. I'll say it again. Law enforcement must be trained and certified to enhance photos. Yeah, they can use Photoshop if they have been trained. It is okay for law enforcement to use Adobe Photoshop CC to enhance images if they have been trained. Training by Adobe Photoshop developers teaches them how to correctly utilize the software so they can submit digital evidence in the court of law. Notice I said Adobe Photoshop CC. To use outdated versions of Photoshop. No! It is not okay for law enforcement to still be utilizing Adobe Photoshop CS6 to enhance images. The life cycle of that edition of Photoshop has ended. This means for the addition of the software Adobe Photoshop CS6, support is no longer provided for this version. Therefore, there are no more bug fixes, maintenance releases, patches, or the like for CS6. Why did they use it? Who used it? And what did they use it for? To do what? Enforcement to use outdated versions of Photoshop continue. No. The integrity and security of Photoshop CS6 can no longer be authenticated. Posted below in this PowerPoint, I have information directly from the Adobe Photoshop website, and they are listing the various contracts for active members if the police indeed had a contract with Photoshop using CS6. Okay, they're listing when the contract end dates were, and they specifically state CS6 feature release, updates, and new versions are discontinued. And then they tell you when the support would be available. And it was only available up until May 31st of 2017. And they told you what they would specifically help you with. However, I would like to see a software developer from Adobe Premiere come to court and justify the police using a software when the life cycle on the software has ended. I would like to come in there and see them justify the police using this software while obtaining the integrity of the software with the security of the software as well. That would be interesting. I would really like to see that. Step up the information that we just went through. Warrants are needed to collect digital/forensic evidence. Law enforcement must have specialized training if they are going to collect digital or forensics evidence. Photoshop's CS6 life cycle has ended. The version of that software that the Rosemont police using is no longer updated or secured. Therefore, the integrity and security of CS6 is in question. It cannot be authenticated. So, this causes me to question the data that the Rosemont Police Department have uploaded on their website for the public to view. Additionally, I analyzed some video footage which causes me to further question the credibility and the integrity of the data that the Rosemont Police Department has posted for the public, as well as their credibility pertaining to Kenneka Jenkins and ruling her death accidental. They have not substantiated their claim. For me, from my perspective, there's a lack of biological forensic evidence that they failed to gather. What they're using to present to the public, when you get underneath the hood of the data that they put out there, is extremely questionable. So, because they were not there to see how she died, and the public was not there to see how she died, everybody really only have theories. The police have yet to prove up their case for me, from my perspective. But I will see you all in the next video upload.